This town had 10,000 people. Then, almost overnight, nothing. Nobody warned you it existed. A whole city hides below your feet. Streets, stores, frozen in 1889. You've walked over it your whole life. America built towns faster than anywhere, and abandoned them just as fast. Over 3,800 ghost towns still exist. Most never appear on modern maps. Most have no markers, no signs. Just ruins returning to Earth. A name nobody remembers anymore. A population, 0. A story nobody bothered to tell. In 1880, this town was alive. By 1890, completely silent. 10 years. That's all it took. Same location. Same coordinates. 140 years apart. Almost nothing survived between them. A schoolhouse. Empty for 80 years. Children's names still on the chalkboard. Nobody came back for them. 3 stories. Now barely standing. This was the finest hotel in town. Every room was full, once. Someone locked this door and left. They expected to come back. They never did. This isn't one story. It's thousands. Each town had a reason to die. Today, we look at all of them. Historians piece this together slowly. Town by town, decade by decade. The pattern is always the same. Bodie, California. Population, 0. It once held 10,000 people. Now the state preserves its collapse. They left everything behind. Dishes on tables. Coats on hooks. As if they planned to return. Over 2,000 structures once stood here. Gold brought everyone. When the gold stopped, they all left. Gold was discovered here in 1876. A city appeared almost overnight. When it ran out, so did everyone. Rhyolite, Nevada had electric lights. A stock exchange. A hospital. Phones. Gone in under a decade. This vault once held real fortunes. Miners brought their gold here daily. Now it holds nothing but dust. Silver brought hundreds here. When silver prices dropped suddenly, residents left within weeks. The mountain gave everything it had. Then it gave nothing more. The town had no reason to stay. An assay office weighed miners' gold. This scale hasn't moved in a century. The last number on it, nearly 0. 65 documented shootings in 1 year. A murder nearly every week at peak. This saloon saw all of it. Water towers outlast everything else. Long after the people leave, these stand watching over nothing. Kennecott, Alaska, the coldest boomtown. Copper brought millions of dollars out. The dry cold preserved its bones perfectly. The ore is still here, on the shelf. Nobody came back to collect it. The mine closed faster than it opened. Independence, Colorado. High Rockies. Founded in a gold rush, abandoned fast. Winter drove the last residents out. Winter at 10,000 feet is brutal. The gold wasn't worth the cold. One by one, they all descended. Some months, no one could leave at all. Passes snowed completely shut. The town trapped itself in winter. When the mine collapsed, so did hope. No mine means no money. No money means no reason to stay. The railroad decided to change route. The town was never told in advance. Construction stopped the same morning. The track runs right past this town. It doesn't stop. It never did after 1902. That single decision ended everything. These spikes once meant everything. Connection to the outside world. When trains stopped, the world left. The last train through Steins, 1944. The entire population rode it out. No one stepped off. No one came back. The clock on the wall stopped at 3:47. Nobody ever wounded again. The last train had already left. The Dust Bowl didn't end towns overnight. It killed them slowly, season by season. The soil blew away. The people followed. Everything they built, buried in dust. Everything they grew, blown away. They left with what they could carry. Oklahoma lost entire counties of people. Not to disaster. To slow starvation. The land simply could not feed them. The soil cracked. Nothing grew. 5 years of drought. No harvest. An entire civilization on cracked ground. The church outlasted the congregation. Services stopped in 1936. The doors have been locked since then. A general store, fully stocked. The owner simply never returned. 100 years of untouched inventory. St. Elmo, Colorado. Still standing. The general store opens in summer. One of the best preserved in America. Volunteers keep the shelves stocked. Not for customers. For history. So people remember how it looked. Bannack, Montana. Montana's first gold find. Briefly the territorial capital. Now, 60 buildings, 0 residents. This jail held Montana's first outlaws. Sheriff's records still inside. The wildest years, written on the walls. Texas oil towns rose and fell fastest. One dry well ended everything. Boomtown to ghost town in 1 year. The well went dry on a Tuesday. By Friday, half the town had left. By Sunday, the rest were packing. Coal towns in Appalachia died differently. Not overnight. Not in one season. Slowly, as the seams thinned out. Company houses. Company stores. Company town. When the company left, everything left. Not just jobs. The whole world. Some towns didn't just empty out. They were flooded on purpose. To build a reservoir over them. Beneath this lake, a full town. Streets. A church. A school. Families were paid to relocate. Most refused. In drought years, the past surfaces. Rooftops emerge from the lake. The town comes back briefly, then sinks again. The Pacific Northwest had logging towns. When the old growth was gone, so were they. A forest cleared itself into a ghost town. These stumps are all that remain. Trees that took centuries to grow. Gone in a decade of industrial logging. Bayocene, Oregon was a beach resort. The Pacific simply took it back. One storm at a time, for 50 years. The ocean doesn't negotiate. It doesn't respect property lines. Entire blocks, simply claimed by water. Deerfield, Colorado. Built by Black Americans. 700 residents at its peak. History almost forgot it entirely. Founded as a sanctuary from discrimination. A place to build a life freely. By 1940, nearly everyone had left. Drought and depression destroyed it. Not racism this time. Just nature. And the indifference of history books. These families built something real. Something history rarely mentions. A thriving, independent community. 700 people lived right here. Today, almost nothing remains. Not even a roadside historical marker. Cahaba was Alabama's first capital. Now privately owned, mostly forgotten. Nobody builds monuments to failed capitals. These columns held up a courthouse. The most important building in the state. Now they hold up nothing but vines. America's first gold rush wasn't in California. It was here. Auraria, Georgia. 1829. Nobody mentions this town anymore. Gold brought thousands here first. Then California happened. Everyone left for a bigger dream. Some ghost towns got a second life. Tourism turned ruins into revenue. The ghost town became its own brand. Bodie has a famous curse. Remove any artifact, bad luck follows. Rangers keep letters from people who tried. Arrested decay. California's official policy. Preserve it exactly as it was left. Not restored. Not maintained. Just frozen. A child's toy, on the floor since 1915. Nobody moved it. Nobody will. The state protects this dust too. Proctor, North Carolina sits underwater. Has for decades beneath Fontana Lake. Drought seasons reveal it briefly. The lake level drops a little. And the town rises just enough. Then the rain comes, and it vanishes again. Some towns predate American settlement. Built, abandoned, rebuilt, abandoned again. Layers of civilizations, all forgotten. People carved their names here in 1847. They wanted to be remembered. Now the building can barely stand. The Black Hills Gold Rush lasted briefly. Long enough to build this main street. Short enough to abandon it completely. Every room, key still on its hook. Every hook still numbered by hand. Not a single guest has checked in since 1903. The last lesson was never erased. Geography. Column addition. Handwriting. Children who never came back to school. Someone wrote their name here in 1934. They were probably 8 years old. That 8-year-old is gone now too. The last sermon here was in 1938. The congregation had already scattered. The minister preached to 12 people. The Bible is still open. Same page since the last service. A sermon about journeys. Fitting. Jerome, Arizona. Billion-dollar copper camp. The whole town built on a tilting hillside. Buildings have been sliding since 1900. The jail slid 40 feet downhill. Slowly, over decades, it just moved. The town followed its own geology. Alaska has the most isolated ghost towns. Some are accessible only by floatplane. The wilderness reclaims them fast. The gold rush reached even Alaska. Miners built towns where no towns belonged. The land eventually disagreed. Graveyards outlast everything else. The only residents who never left. The only ones who couldn't. Someone buried here died in 1887. Nobody visits now. Nobody remembers. A name reduced to fading wood. The town is gone. The graves remain. The dead are the only ones who stayed. A cemetery is all that marks this place. Route 66 had its own ghost towns. When the interstate highway bypassed them, towns vanished within a single decade. The vacancy sign still blinks. Nobody drives this road anymore. The highway moved 15 miles east. 4,000 cars passed here daily in 1955. The interstate opened in 1963. By 1965, total silence. The menus haven't changed since 1961. Neither has the pie case. Neither has anything in here. Every road here leads to somewhere else now. Not through here anymore. The town became a detour nobody takes. Beneath Seattle's Pioneer Square, another city exists underground. The one that burned in 1889. June 6, 1889. A glue pot overturned. 25 city blocks caught fire. And a buried city was accidentally born. The original street level is down here, preserved beneath the new city above. You're walking in 1889 right now. These storefronts were still open in 1890. Merchants served customers down here, while the new city was built above. Look down at the sidewalk in Pioneer Square. Those glass bricks in the pavement? Skylights for the city below your feet. People walk above this every single day, never looking down, never wondering. A whole world 2 feet below their shoes. Streets raised up to 22 feet. The old city simply left below. The new city built on top of its ruins. A bank operated here in 1889. The vault is still in the wall. Empty now, closed on the day of the fire. After being sealed off in 1907, this underground became something darker. Opium dens, gambling halls, speakeasies. Condemned in 1907. Reason: bubonic plague. The underground sealed overnight. Forgotten for nearly 60 years. One man saved the Seattle Underground. Bill Spidell opened the tour in 1965. 200,000 visitors come yearly now. 10 meters below the modern street. Streets that once carried horses and carts, now carrying only ghost tour groups. Beneath Portland, Oregon, a tunnel network. Built for moving goods from ships to saloons. It became something far more sinister. The Shanghai Tunnel's Portland's dark secret. Trapdoors, holding cells, hidden passages. Built in an era of maritime crime. Through these trapdoors, men disappeared. Dropped into holding cells below bars. Waking up on ships bound for Asia. Historians debate the kidnapping extent. The tunnels themselves are beyond debate. Brick archways, holding cells, iron rings. Real. These chains held people against their will. Waiting for ships. Waiting for forced labor. Portland doesn't advertise this part. Atlanta buried its old city too. Not fire this time. Railroad viaducts. The original street level, swallowed by progress. A viaduct system raised Atlanta's roads. The original businesses stayed below. An underground district, built by accident. Today it's a tourist attraction. Shops and restaurants below the city. But the original 1800s bones are still there. Cincinnati built a subway in the 1920s. Dug the tunnels. Poured the concrete. Then simply never finished it. The tunnels are perfectly intact below Cincinnati. Platforms built. Stations framed. Not a single train ever ran through them. 90 years underground. Perfectly preserved. No passengers. No trains. No noise. Just concrete waiting for a purpose that never came. The city ran out of money in 1927. And stopped. Just stopped. The tunnels have waited ever since. Rochester built a subway in the Erie Canal bed. It ran from 1927 to 1956. Then abandoned. Exactly as it was. Stone walls built for boats in 1825. Repurposed for trains in 1927. Abandoned in 1956. Unchanged since. 2 centuries of infrastructure in one tunnel. Canal-era stone. Railroad-era concrete. Both abandoned. Both perfectly preserved. Houston built tunnels for a different reason. Not fires. Not floods. Not history. Just the unbearable Texas summer heat. 7 miles of underground Houston. Air-conditioned tunnels beneath downtown. A fully functioning city below the city. 50,000 people use these tunnels daily. Entire lunch hours spent underground. Some workers never go outside at all. Oak Ridge, Tennessee. WWII's secret city. The entire Manhattan Project, hidden underground. Residents had no idea what they were building. 75,000 workers lived here. Most were told nothing about the work. They built the atomic bomb without knowing it. Savannah, Georgia hides colonial-era vaults. Originally built to store goods from ships. now running beneath the city's oldest streets. Some vaults were used during yellow fever. Bodies stored here when the city overwhelmed. Not for long. Nobody wanted to know they existed. Burlington, Vermont. Cold War fallout shelters. Built to protect city officials from nuclear strike. Most still sealed. Some rediscovered by accident. Inside, canned food from 1963. Emergency water drums. First aid kits. Vintage anxiety, preserved underground. Beneath downtown Los Angeles, jazz-age tunnels. Speakeasies connecting through basement passages. Al Capone and Louis Armstrong in the same room. The Green Mill in Chicago opened in 1907. A speakeasy during Prohibition. Still serving drinks in the same room today. Every major city had these. Fake bookshelves. Sliding walls. Trapdoors. Prohibition built an underground nation. Philadelphia's hidden cellars ran deeper still. Beneath Quaker homes, freedom seekers hiding. The Underground Railroad, literally underground. Small brick rooms beneath parlor floors. People waited here for days in silence. The most important underground in American history. In St. Paul, Minnesota subway workers struck stone. Then pottery. Then human remains. A Dakota burial cave from centuries before. Ancient ceramics beside modern concrete. Two timelines colliding underground. The city built over what came before. Modern life passes above. Down here, another world stands still. Separated by concrete and a century. Urban explorers now find these spaces. Abandoned tunnels. Forgotten basements. History that fell through the city's cracks. A newspaper. 1941. Pearl Harbor, front page above the fold. Still down here. Still unread since then. Every one of these places was once alive. Someone was born here. Fell in love. Built something. Then lost it all. The past isn't gone. It's buried. Under new streets. Under new cities. Under things we stopped looking for. No museum planned these exhibits. No curator arranged these displays. Time did all of this on its own. Nature doesn't wait for permission. It moves into empty spaces immediately. Towns vanish. Flowers don't care. Preservation is a form of grief. We keep these places because we can't let go. Because something real happened here. Some people remember these towns alive. They come back to look. They don't say much. They don't need to. In the end, the land is indifferent. It was here before the town. It will be here long after. There's beauty in what's left behind. Not despite the ruin. Because of it. Honesty that living places never have. Some vanished above the ground. Some vanished below it. All of them vanished the same way, quietly. Maps don't forget what people do. Every town is still marked somewhere. If you know what you're looking for, 15,000 more communities could become ghost towns by century's end. History isn't finished yet. Children still find these places with wonder. No fear. No sadness. Just pure curiosity. The same question every generation asks. Somewhere beneath you, right now, another city waits in the dark. Patient. Preserved. Forgotten. America buried more than it remembers. Look closer at the ground beneath your feet. The past is still right there.